how could someone be in support of letting criminals out of jail so early, right? And it can look like a lot of different things, right? So there's like the New York Times article, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, where there's a whole New York Times article about how this 25-year-old met a 13-year-old girl online, drove to her house, stopped for condoms along the way, but it turned out to be a child predator sting. And the whole article is about how he's the real victim here. And there was no actual harm to the public. So what are we, it's like, what? Apparently 13-year-old girls, I guess, are no longer considered the public. So you see the left say stuff like this, and you're like, what? So the reason why they say stuff like this is because in their worldview, and Thomas Sowell talks a lot about this in the book, Vision of the Anointed. In their worldview, the criminal is the victim. Now, in your worldview, the victim's the victim, the criminal's the criminal. But in their worldview, the criminal is the victim. They're a victim of circumstance, they're a victim of poverty, they're a victim of oppression, they're a victim of the system. There's no personal responsibility ever, cannot exist. It's always someone else's fault, or if you can't pinpoint someone, it's the system, it's everyone else's fault, right? And it's whatever it takes so that the individual can never be blamed for anything. Therefore, it's cruel to keep this person in jail because they're the real victim. See? I know your brain's like, wait, no, I don't. And in California, where I live, we end up releasing people, and it's happened all across the country, but we release people from jail because of COVID, which makes no sense at all. And then a couple of days later, one of these guys goes and he slits the throat of some guy walking into the bathroom at the beach. But still, the murderer is considered the victim because we as a society didn't do enough to help him, whatever, right? Now, I don't want to get off topic, but the point is that like this looting thing is a real mind bender too, right? Same way that the criminal is the victim. Here's another one. And this is a quote from her. Property is a crime. So in defense of looting, you can only defend looting if you believe, as this person makes the case, and many progressives do believe, that property is a crime. If property is a crime, then of course it's okay to steal. Not only is it okay, it's virtuous. It's stealing is stopping a crime. Does it make sense? No, it doesn't. It doesn't make sense. But are you like your brain synapses are like short circuit? Like that doesn't make sense. Now, one of our commandments is thou shalt not steal. Pretty simple. But to the left, everything's backwards. To the left, property is a crime. Having property is the problem. Property rights are immoral. It's an aspect of white supremacy. So to the left, it's thou shalt not have property. And it's you shall. It's like literally you. I will, but you shouldn't have property. We'll get to that in a minute. But if having property is the crime, then stealing is a virtue. She says, looting is violent, extreme, femme as blank, a queer birth, and a party. The Watts riots, 34 people died, by the way, had a carnivalesque celebratory atmosphere. Whatever, we could break all that down, but it's all just insane. Oh, I should note this. When you buy this book and you open it up, there's a copyright page. The copyright says, the scanning, uploading, and distribution of this book without permission is a theft of the author's intellectual property. If you would like permission to use material from this book, please contact permissions at blah, blah, blah. Thank you for your support of the author's rights. So her property. Don't go stealing her property, of course. All right, let me share this quote. Looting represents a way to solve some of the immediate problems of poverty by creating a space for people to freely reproduce their lives rather than doing so by wage labor. So that's another thing. Wage labor is sinful and immoral. It's wrong. Wage labor is wrong. So if you can find a way to survive and live without wage labor, then you're living a truly virtuous life.
Wow, that was deep and insightful. I want more of that.
Like, subscribe, get more.